the daily reflections for September 1st, 2025. Willingness to grow. If more gifts are to be received, our awakening has to go on. That's from As Bill Sees It, page 8. Sobriety fills the painful hole in my soul that my alcoholism created. Often I feel so physically well that I believe my work is done. However, joy is not just the absence of pain, it is the gift of continued spiritual awakening. Joy comes from ongoing and active study, as well as application of the principles of recovery in my everyday life, and from sharing that experience with others. My higher power presents many opportunities for deeper spiritual awakening. I need only to bring into my recovery the willingness to grow. Today, I am ready to grow. Like this one. Spiritual growth. My higher power presents many opportunities for deeper spiritual awakening. I only need to bring into my recovery the willingness to grow. I had a sponsor in Pensacola one time. I don't know if I was having an issue with the God thing or what, but I think maybe it was just an issue with that the program could work. And he said, "Are you willing to think that this program will work? Are you willing to believe that it has worked for other people?" And I'm like, it was fairly reasonable. I'm like, yeah, I'm willing. I've actually heard people pose the question, are you willing to be willing? Which is, of course, someone's going to be willing to be willing. Anyway, I want to get back to the spiritual growth. Gift of continued spiritual awakening. So we have that spiritual experience sometimes of the academic kind, but a continued spiritual awakening. And this doesn't say in the first 5 years of sobriety or the 2 or the 10, continued, which means I get to keep having those. And I've been going down this kind of rabbit hole of meditation, and it has just been a trip. And I would encourage anybody that is interested in meditation, find like a guided meditation, a 10-minute guided meditation, and try it out. It is transformative. Sobriety fills the painful hole in the soul that my alcoholism created. For me, I'd been sober for about 5 years. I met my now wife. And so it was one of those things where we got together. I guess I wasn't drinking, but it wasn't like a dedicated prayer and meditation time like I have now. And anyway, I think I fooled myself into thinking, I'm fine, I'm sober, I go to meetings. And then I stopped going to meetings after a while, and then I stopped picking up chips, and then, I drank. Relapse. I had no defense against the first drink. At the same time, I was doing triathlon. And when I started, I was out of shape, didn't really know how to swim, definitely didn't know how to run. But I got hooked on it, I got obsessive with it, and I ended up going all the way and doing a full Ironman, which is a crazy long triathlon. I was using triathlon to fill up that hole in the soul that my alcoholism created. And I see that in my life. I see a tendency to be obsessive about one thing. Even if it's a healthy type of a thing, I still get obsessive about it. And what that really is doing is I have a compulsion to have a spiritual connection with my higher power. And if that is not met, then that compulsion points somewhere else. And in a sense, that becomes what I fixate on. And some people say, well, that becomes your God, triathlon becomes your God. Anyway, I have to be careful about what I'm fixated on and what I'm compulsive about. But lately I've been compulsive about doing prayer and meditation. I even have a little book. This is my business book that I use to plan. And then all these checks. First one is meditation. And I missed one day in the past 14 days. And that's when I started tracking. So joy comes from ongoing and active study, as well as application of the principles of recovery in everyday life. Ongoing and active study. We're never done, you know? And that's a good thing, because where I'm at spiritually is a different area code than where I was when I first started out. And it's not like a linear progression for me. It's been a very kind of eye-opening thing where there's a level, and then there's a next level, and then there's a deeper understanding, and then you realize that you know nothing, and then there's the next level. It's very the Dunning-Kruger effect is in full force in my sobriety. So, and that's cool. Like each different level, I have the Dunning-Kruger effect. I don't know. It's really amazing. I love that it just says we only need to bring into my recovery the willingness to grow. Today I'm ready to grow. It changes. I love that they use today, right? Because it's like a choice. Some days I'm not ready to grow. Other days I am. We always say progress, not perfection, but it's actually spiritual progress, not spiritual perfection. People always leave out the spiritual. Anyway, that's it. So if you're trying to get sober, go to a meeting and get a sponsor. If you are sober, go to a meeting and talk to your sponsor. Thanks for watching.